What's good YouTube, it's your boy Criticalkickz, and today we're going to be customizing these Heritage Jordan 1s into some 2015 Jordan 1 Chicagos. I was able to pick this pair up for under retail. I paid about $150, and if y'all don't know, the Jordan 1 Chicagos right now are going for about $2,000, so we're going to see if we can experiment with these and see if we can get them looking right. Alright, so before we get into this custom, here's a closer look at the shoe. They come with really nice leather quality, which is why these are a great candidate for customization. And they come with red, white, and black laces. It seems like the white panels of the shoe have a little bit more of a plasticky feel as compared to the red tumbled leather. But overall, I really like the shoe for this customization, so let's get into it. The first thing you're going to need for this custom is some masking tape. Make sure you also remove the laces and shoe trees from the shoe before doing any paint job. I started with taping off the toe box in order to paint them white. Make sure you guys are really precise with this step in order to minimize the chance of having to do any touch-up work. Next, I used some 800 grit sandpaper in order to prep the leather. I followed that with some acetone on a cotton ball in order to clean off all the dust. I always try my best to use gloves when I'm dealing with acetone in order to minimize the contact with my fingers. And I also try to prep the shoes the best I can in order for the new paint to stick to the leather. Next, I used a mixture of Angelus Too Thin and Angelus Flat White in my airbrush to put down the first layer of flat white paint. As I'm pouring in the paint, you can kind of see the consistency I like to use in order to avoid airbrush splatter. On the first layer of paint, I try to do a very thin coat, and gradually I'll do thicker and thicker coats as I go on. In between each layer of paint, make sure you're using either a heat gun, hair dryer, or waiting for the shoes to air dry before going to the next coat. In all, I did about 4 or 5 layers of paint, but make sure you're only doing enough for you to have full coverage. If you do too many layers of paint, you may end up kicking it on, and when you wear it, it will start to crack. Next, I like to completely remove the masking tape from the uppers and midsoles of the shoe and do any detail work on parts that I may have missed with the airbrush. Here I used a flat detail brush in order to do the touch-ups with white paint. And after using a hair dryer to dry up my touch-up work, I used masking tape in order to tape off the white panels in preparation to put down the red. With an airbrush, you tend to get a lot of overspray, so you may need to tape off the entire shoe to avoid paint getting on unwanted parts. I found that using electrical tape on the border of the midsole and leather gets you really clean lines, so that's what I'm doing here. Once again, make sure you're taking your time while doing this in order to avoid having to do a lot of touch-up work. I didn't get it on camera, but make sure you also prep the white leather with acetone and sandpaper too. For this custom, you can use plain red acrylic paint from Angelus to get a good color match. As you can see, I did a really thin first layer of paint, dried it with my heat gun, and did a thicker second coat. Make sure you guys are getting full coverage with your paint jobs, but not overpainting. You'll know you're finished painting when the color you put down is opaque and you cannot see the underlying colors. Here's a little 360 of the shoe with the masking tape and all the red panels completely painted. Next, I completely removed the masking tape from the shoe. You won't really need it anymore because the last part we're doing freehand. Make sure that as you remove the masking tape, the paint is completely dry to avoid any smudging or leakage. Because I know the tape job wasn't perfect, I looked all around the shoe to make sure there wasn't any places that needed to be detailed. I did end up finding some areas where paint either needed to be added or removed. So here I am doing some touch-up work to all the places where it's necessary. The next thing to do in this custom was to paint the swoosh black. I did this with a small flat detail brush and some flat black paint. For this step, since there is a lot of stitching on the swoosh, I made sure to do very thin layers of paint. And with a pointed detail brush, I made sure to get the corners of the leather. This process is very tedious, but I do feel like it brings the custom to the next level. I did the same process on the other side, making sure to be very precise with my brush strokes. Because I am doing this freehand, there is a pretty high risk of me getting paint on the white leather. If that happens, make sure to use like some acetone or alcohol to remove the paint. And also make sure you guys are using either a heat gun or hair dryer in between each coat to dry the paint. For the final step of this custom, I used a detail brush to paint the stitch line on the swoosh with flat white paint. After finishing the custom, I sprayed the entire shoe with some matte finisher, and finally I put the laces and cardboard inserts back into the shoe. Here are the final results of this custom. It's crazy that we were able to change a $150 shoe into a nearly $2,000 pair of Chicago Jordan 1s. I really hope this video could help anyone aspiring to customize their Jordan 1s or their shoes in general. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me any other customized shoes you want to see in the future. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. I'll catch you on the next one, and we out.